this tweet here from Fox's Janice Dean. It says Hurricane Hilary has strengthened. It'll continue to rapidly intensify as it crawls up the coast of Baja and then impacting SoCal with flooding, rainfall, strong winds, and the possibilities for tropical tornadoes. So that storm has been upgraded to a hurricane, her name Hilary, and it is expected, as we said there, to bring lots of impacts here. Let's talk more about this and bring in the National Weather Services out of Los Angeles, Eric Bolt. Eric, thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. First, especially for those who live in the Los Angeles area, what do people need to know?
They need to not panic right now. This is a lot of uncertainty with the storm track and what exactly is going to happen, but we need to start preparing. And what that means is be prepared for high winds, some flooding rains, and if you're anywhere near the coast, there's likely to be very large swell activity and coastal erosion. Stay aware of the weather forecast and be cautious of what's going to be happening over the weekend and into Monday. This is a especially dangerous time, something that we're not all familiar with here in Southern California. The last time we had a landfalling tropical system back in 1939, so nobody really has much experience with this.
Yeah, that's something I was going to ask you about in a moment. Before we get more into that, though, Eric, let's pull up this live tracker here that we have of Hilary. So you mentioned Monday for Southern California. Where and when do you think we will see most of those impacts? And especially earlier into the weekend, too, before Monday, do you think we'll see anything or anything that residents need to be aware of ahead of Monday?
Of course. So we could start to see impacts as early as Saturday, especially over the ocean. We start to see some bigger swells coming into the coastal areas, and then the clouds are going to increase. Rain's going to start to increase on Sunday, probably most likely in the afternoon. And the winds will start to ramp up, especially at higher elevations. And then into later Sunday and Monday, we expect the bulk of the impacts from the system. One thing to point out, this is a rapidly developing storm system. It's expected to become a major hurricane in the next 24 hours. Don't focus on the track of this system. It'll be very strong when it comes into Southern California, and it can move anywhere within that zone you have showing on the map right there. It can even move outside of that zone if the forecast is off a little bit. So we need to be careful about what we're doing with this approaching system.
Okay, that's good to know, Eric. And obviously, as you mentioned, 1939, the last time that California had experienced something like this. Does that concern you that maybe folks aren't familiar with how to handle this type of situation because it is so rare?
It's a big concern because this is just a very unusual event for a large metropolitan area like Los Angeles and down to San Diego. We just don't have the experience. One thing that's really easy to forget is that the winds associated with a tropical system are sustained winds of at least 40 miles per hour or greater. Most of the time, we only see wind gusts, just a quick little burst of wind like that. This will be sustained, steady winds over 40 miles per hour. And then as we get up into elevation, we're going to talk about gusts of 80, maybe even to 100 miles per hour in our local mountains.
Okay, and are there any impacts to the Bay Area that people up north in the state should be aware of?
So they're probably going to be a little more removed from the bulk of this system as it moves across Southern California. I think that's going to be the focus, but the Bay Area could still see some offshore wind component. They may have some rain associated with this or some thunderstorm activity from all the moisture lifting northward across California.
Okay, and the last thing here, Eric, that I think we want to end with is one of the most important things in this is preparation. How can people best prepare starting right now, looking into the weekend?
This time of year, it's very unusual to see rain at all. All right, so a lot of people may have a roof off their house, they have some outdoor projects, they have equipment exposed. We could be talking about several inches of rain. We could be talking about flash flooding. And also the winds. Anything that you may have around your property that needs to be tied down, moved inside, think about high winds, flooding rains, and then be prepared for when these things start to move into the area.
All right, Eric Bolt with the National Weather Service in Los Angeles. Thank you so much for joining us here. I'm sure we'll be in touch with you guys, especially as this continues into Monday.
Thank you.
All right, so a lot that we'll be following here. Let's give you another live picture as we continue to track the very latest here. And of course, we'll be bringing you all of these updates in real time. We also will be bringing you live reports from Southern California, speaking with weather officials as well, like the National Weather Service, like our team at Fox Weather. So we've got you covered here as we track the very latest. In the meantime, let's give you a live look here as well as we get ready to head to a commercial break. As you can see, Air Force One, President Biden headed to Pennsylvania today. Our crews were on the grounds, our cameras were rolling.